I can't stop pacing. The old wooden floor creaks with every step, a constant reminder of how empty our house feels. The smell of burnt coffee hangs in the air. I forgot to turn off the machine again. Outside, the wind blows through the trees, making the colorful autumn leaves dance. My name's John Prescott. I'm 42, teach history at the local high school, and right now, I'm living every parent's worst nightmare. Our town, Pelham, is the kind of place you see on postcards. White picket fences, cute little shops, and a church so old it was around before America was even a country. Tourists love it here, especially in the fall when the trees turn all orange and red. But Pelham has its secrets. I should know. I've spent years studying our town's history. There are stories that don't make it into the guidebooks. Whispers about Blackwood Forest that surrounds us. Strange things have happened there over the years. I never thought my family would become part of those stories. John? My wife's voice snaps me out of my thoughts. Sarah stands in the doorway, looking like she hasn't slept in days. To be honest, neither of us has. Anything new? I shake my head. Not yet. The police chief said they're bringing in some expert from Boston, but... I don't finish the sentence. We both know what I'm thinking. Sarah sits on the couch, clutching her phone like a lifeline. I keep expecting her to call or text. I sit next to her, putting my arm around her shoulders. For a moment, we're quiet, both lost in memories of our daughter, Emily. Emily on her first day of school, all smiles and pigtails. Emily winning the science fair, grinning from ear to ear. Emily last week, laughing at my terrible jokes. Emily yelling that she hated me before running out the door. I should have gone after her, I say quietly. Sarah squeezes my hand. We both thought she'd come back. She always did before. But not this time. Not after our stupid fight about a sleepover. Someone knocks on the door, making us both jump. I rush to open it, hoping against hope, but it's not Emily. It's Chief Parker, looking worried. John. Sarah. Can I come in? We need to talk. In the kitchen, Sarah makes fresh coffee while I sit across from the chief. What's going on, Dave? I asked. Did you find something? He sighs, taking off his hat. Not exactly. But something's happened. You're not gonna like it. Sarah sets down 3 coffee mugs, her hands shaking a little. Just tell us. We've had to stop the search parties in Blackwood Forest, he says. Why? I'm on my feet before I know it. Chief Parker holds up a hand. Please, sit down. There's more. I sit, feeling like the room is spinning. Sarah grabs my hand under the table. 3 of our volunteers have gone missing, the chief continues. Just vanished. Like Emily. My mouth goes dry. That's not possible. But even as I say it, I remember the old stories I've read. The ones about people disappearing in the forest. There's something else, Chief Parker says, his voice low. Something strange happened last night. We found someone wandering at the edge of town. Someone who went missing a long time ago. A chill runs down my spine. I think about the stories I've researched, about people coming back, different. Suddenly, I feel dizzy. The kitchen seems to blur around me. For a split second, I think I hear Emily's voice, far away but clear. Daddy? Where are you? Then everything snaps back to normal. The chief and Sarah are looking at me, worried. Are you okay? Sarah asks. I nod, but I'm not okay. Because in that weird moment, I saw something. A dark cave. And Emily was there, smiling. But something wasn't right about her eyes. "We need to go back to the forest," I say, my voice shaky but determined. "Now!" Because whatever's happening in Blackwood Forest, whatever took my daughter, I have a feeling it's not over yet. The drive to Blackwood Forest is tense. Sarah sits beside me, her knuckles white as she grips the door handle. Chief Parker follows in his cruiser, lights flashing but sirens off. The last thing we need is to draw more attention. As we near the forest's edge, I spot something moving in the shadows. I slam on the brakes, causing Sarah to lurch forward. "John," what she starts, but then she sees it too. A figure stands at the tree-line, unnaturally still. It's a man, or what used to be a man. His skin is pale, almost translucent in the fading light. But it's his eyes that make my stomach churn. They're fixed on us, unblinking. "Oh my God," Sarah whispers, her voice trembling. The man's head turns towards us, the movement too smooth, like a camera panning. For a moment, he just stares. Then, as if pulled by some invisible force, he begins to walk towards the road, towards town. His gait is odd, each step precisely the same length as the last. Chief Parker pulls up beside us, rolling down his window. "Don't get out of the car," he warns. "We've seen this before. They can't seem to enter the town limits." As if to prove his point, the man suddenly stops at the faded "Welcome to Pelham" sign. He sways on his feet, looking confused. "What do you mean, they?" Sarah asks. "How many are there?" The chief's expression is grim. "We've counted 7 so far. All missing persons from the last few decades. And all changed." I watch as the man paces along the invisible boundary, his movements becoming more agitated. "What happens if they try to cross?" "You don't want to know," Parker says quietly. But as the words leave his mouth, a police car rounds the corner, lights blazing. The new officer must not have gotten the memo about our town's strange new residents. He pulls over and steps out, approaching the agitated man. "Sir, are you all right? Do you need help?" What happens next will haunt my nightmares for years to come. The moment the officer's hand crosses the town line, the changed man lets out a sound, not quite a scream, not quite a word, but something in between. His body goes rigid, every muscle tensing at once. He lunges at the officer, his movements a blur. Chief Parker is out of his car in an instant, shouting warnings. But it's too late. The changed man is grappling with the officer, trying to drag him across the line. His strength seems inhuman, his fingers leaving bruises wherever they touch. It takes 3 of them to finally subdue the man, dragging him back into the forest where he immediately calms, becoming almost docile again. The officer is shaken but alive. As the paramedics check him over, I overhear him muttering, his skin, it wasn't right. Like touching a mannequin, but alive. I turn to Sarah, seeing my own aura reflected in her eyes. "Emily," she whispers. "John, what if?" I grab her hand, squeezing perhaps too tightly. "We don't know anything yet. Emily could still be okay." But deep down, a cold dread is settling in my stomach. Because I remember the stories now, stories I dismissed as superstition and folklore. Stories of people returning from the forest changed, unable to rejoin society. What if those stories were true? What if whatever changed these people has my daughter? As twilight deepens, casting long shadows across the road, Chief Parker approaches our car. "We can't go in tonight," he says, his voice heavy with regret. "It's too dangerous in the dark. We'll start again at first light." I want to argue, to demand we go in now. Every moment we wait is another moment Emily is lost in that forest. But I know he's right. Blackwood Forest is treacherous enough in daylight. At night, it's a death trap. As we drive home, the trees seem to loom over us, branches reaching out like gnarled fingers. I can't shake the feeling that something is watching us from the darkness. That night, as Sarah finally falls into an uneasy sleep, I sit at my desk, poring over old town records. There has to be a pattern, some clue we've missed. My eyes burn with exhaustion, but every time I close them, I see Emily's face. Just as I'm about to give up, a name catches my eye. Elizabeth Proctor, age 9, missing for 3 days in 1793. Found in a cave, eyes unseeing, speaking words not of this earth. My heart races. A cave, just like in my vision. Outside, a wolf howls, long and mournful. But underneath that familiar sound, I swear I hear something else. A high, keening wail that raises the hair on the back of my neck. It sounds almost human. Dawn can't come soon enough. The forest looms before us, a wall of green and shadow. The morning mist clings to the ground, weaving between the trees like ghostly fingers. I take a deep breath, tasting the damp earth and decaying leaves on my tongue. Our search party is small, just me, Sarah, Chief Parker, and 2 of his most trusted deputies. No one else wanted to risk entering Blackwood after what happened yesterday. Stay close, Parker warns as we step past the tree line. And whatever you do, don't lose sight of each other. The forest swallows us whole. The canopy above is so thick that it might as well be twilight down here. Our flashlights cut weak paths through the gloom. We walk for what feels like hours, calling Emily's name until our voices are hoarse. The forest seems to absorb the sound, muffling our cries. More than once, I swear I hear a response, a faint daddy, carried on the wind, but when we rush towards it, we find nothing. John, Sarah whispers, tugging on my sleeve. Look. At first, I don't see it. Then my eyes adjust, and I feel the blood drain from my face. Carved into a massive oak tree is a symbol, a spiral with strange, angular marks branching off it. It looks old, the edges worn smooth by time and weather. I've seen this before, I murmur, reaching out to trace the lines with my fingers. The bark feels unnaturally warm beneath my touch. Suddenly, a sharp pain lances through my head. I stumble back, spots dancing in my vision. A cave mouth, yawning wide in the hillside, Emily, sitting cross-legged at the entrance, smiling serenely, her eyes, somehow wrong, turning to look at me. Come find me, Daddy. I blink, and the vision is gone. Sarah is shaking me, her face pale with worry. John? John? What happened? I open my mouth to respond, but before I can, an unnatural silence falls over the forest. The constant background noise of birds and insects suddenly stops, leaving an eerie void. Chief Parker raises his gun, eyes darting between the trees. We should go back, he says, voice tight with fear. But I can't. Not now. The cave, I gasp out. We need to find the cave. Sarah looks at me like I've lost my mind. Maybe I have. But I know, with a certainty that chills me to the bone, that Emily is in that cave. We press on, deeper into Blackwood. The trees seem to press closer, branches reaching out like claws. Twice more we experience that unnatural silence, each time lasting longer than before. Then, as we round a dense thicket, we see it. A hill rises before us, and at its base, a dark opening gapes like a wound in the earth. Emily! Sarah cries, starting forward. I grab her arm, holding her back. Because there, sitting at the mouth of the cave, is our daughter. She looks just like she did the day she ran away, same clothes, same messy ponytail. But when she turns to look at us, my heart stops. Her eyes are wrong. Not white or glowing, but somehow off. As if they're focused on something just behind us. And her smile, it's too wide, too still, like a photograph rather than a living expression. You found me, she says, but her lips barely move. The voice seems to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. Emily, I choke out. Baby, are you okay? She tilts her head, the movement too smooth, like a puppet on strings. Okay? I'm wonderful, Daddy. I've never been better. I take a step forward, but Chief Parker grabs my shoulder. Wait, he hisses. Something's not right. As if in response, Emily stands. Her movements are all wrong, too fluid, as if she's underwater. Don't you want to come see? She asks, gesturing to the cave behind her. "It's beautiful in here. You'll never want to leave." Sarah lets out a choked sob beside me. I squeeze her hand, trying to project a confidence I don't feel. "Emily," I say, fighting to keep my voice steady, "we need you to come home now. Please." For a moment, something flickers in those strange eyes, a flash of our real daughter. Then it's gone, replaced by an expression of serene blankness. Home? The word is flat, emotionless. I am home. She takes a step forward, and in that moment, I notice something that turns my blood to ice. Emily's feet don't quite touch the ground. She's hovering, ever so slightly, above the forest floor. My vision blurs, tears or terror, I'm not sure which. Because now we have a choice to make. Do we try to bring our daughter home, knowing what happened to the others who returned? Or do we leave her here, lost in whatever dark magic has taken hold of Blackwood Forest? As Emily takes another step towards us, moving in a way that's just slightly off, I realize with a sinking heart that we may not have a choice at all. The forest has her now, and it might not be willing to let her go.